What are we jamming out now, Jay? Are you losing your fucking children's college funds on online poker? What's going on there with that behind you? That's a
so it is similar to poker. You need to know poker. Like if you know and like poker, you'll definitely like Balatro. And that is the game of choice that I have been all about. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people, if you're up on gaming industry, you know Balatro is like one of a lot of awards. So I was like, I heard of it, like I saw
What the fuck did you just say?
It won like Game of the Year.
Oh, awards.
Like that, awards.
I thought you said, I did not. I was like, was that, what the fuck? It sounded like a different language to me. Okay.
No, yeah, it definitely won an award or a couple of awards. So like it was in the back of my mind as something I wanted to try.
But fuck is giving an online card game an award? What kind of maniac is giving a fucking online card game awards?
Dude, it is addictive. Like I have a monthly poker game, so
is Candy Crush. Candy Crush shouldn't be getting any awards.
This is definitely not Candy Crush. But this is a poker roguelike. So it's like, I'm going to read you the Steam definition.
Get out of here. I'm so out, Jay. You can't even imagine how out I am already.
Balatro is a hypnotically satisfying deck builder where you play illegal poker hands, discover game-changing jokers, and trigger adrenaline-pumping, outrageous combos. So pretty much if you like poker, you're going to like this, and you like any kind of deck builder or roguelike game, you're going to love Balatro. And I got sucked in. I finally completed my first run. It was super fun. It's a blast, man. Like if you like poker, that's question one. Like, do you like poker? Josh.
Oh, are you asking? You're actually asking me. Not really. I like. Okay. I feel like we had to talk about this before as well. But like, I used to play in like high school. I would play with my uncle and his friends, and like we didn't play Hold'em. We played like actual 5 and 7 card draw games, and it was like call your game, and there were all these different games. I'm absolutely certain I've already given this diatribe on our podcast at some time or another. But yeah, we would play all these different games, like Dime Store and like. Fucking
I've never even heard of either of those.
Deuces and Jacks and the Man with the Axe. Like basically all these different variations on it to make it interesting. That way every hand is different.
Gotcha.
The idea of playing Texas Hold'em, I genuinely cannot think of anything more boring.
Oh, man. Oh.
And I understand it's like if you're in a room with people who are good at it, it's about the math in between the actual cards.
The friendship of like the guys, you know what I mean? If it's a regular thing.
Sure, that too, but I would rather do something more interesting with those friends than play poker, basically. if I D&D, for example, whatever. So something where there's actually something going on interesting, because poker is not interesting. So anyways, yes, that's the answer to that question.
Gotcha. Fair enough. Well, I do like poker. And so for me, being able to not only just try to find regular poker hands, but you have all these jokers that you get, which like score you points or give you like multipliers, and so you get to choose.
See right here, you're demonstrating my fucking point right here.
What is that?
This is more interesting to you because you're taking a boring game and making it more interesting by giving you other goals other than just playing dumbass Texas Hold'em.
Well, yeah, I mean, first of all, I agree it's definitely not dumbass. It is cool Texas Hold'em. So that's what we agree, first of all. But yes, on top of that, it does do a bunch of cool things, and typical roguelike fashion, depending on the seed of that run, you get different choices at the end of each run. Oh, do I want to get this planet, which gives me a multiplier if I get like certain poker hands like flushes or straights or 3 of a kind or whatever, and you get, it's really like strategy at that point. So it's really fun. Yeah, it's a blast, man. It's a blast.
Okay. But you're playing it on a computer. You're not even getting the thing you said was cool, the camaraderie with the friends.
No, because of all the roguelike, like in deck building aspect, like it's really strategy, and it's really like, that's the fun of it. Like, yes, I want to win each round, but the strategy is like, what cards at the end am I choosing to really like level that up and build the most powerful hand that I can? Because I know like each ante is going to be harder and harder.
Jay, we got to get you a PC. We got to get you a PC VR rig so you have something to do.
Oh my gosh, dude!
That's constructive. That's what we got to do.
The consensus is that this game is great, Josh. I'm sorry, VR is not the end all be all. This is a good game. It is a fantastic game, and I even got one of my coworkers hooked on it. He came up to me the other day saying like, "Hey, because you all lost like 2 hours of my time playing like Balatro the other day. Like it's definitely addictive. So
insane.
It's a consensus.
Insane behavior.
Trust me.
Okay, copy. Fucking card games.
And then, yeah, man, I've been playing so much more Avowed. Dude, it's so good. It's so good.
The
Skyrim, like, oh
cheap ass gamer dudes fucking
it's so good.
Clowned on it this week. They clowned on it this week. They said it was.
Who's clowned on it? Oh,
the cheap ass gamer.
I don't really care about that because it's still fantastic. Like I don't really
even the one that's like a fucking, he is just like the most basic bitch in the universe. He watches nothing but Marvel stuff. He plays nothing but AAA titles. He is just like the most basic bitch on the planet. Yeah. I've tweeted this guy, I'm like, you are like exactly like when studio fucking executives sit in a room and like try to like, here's the like most like, let's make the thing that like the most human beings, the most watered down thing that the most human beings on the planet are going to want to buy and like.
But they won't like it.
I'm not saying Avowed is this. I'm not saying it's that bad. I'm simply saying this individual that I'm talking about on this podcast, like the shit he likes is just the most homogenized, oh God, it makes me like, it's why our content landscape is fucked because of these people that will buy these things. That is just all he wants is like the most basic, watered down, easily digestible thing. And it's why we don't get unique, interesting fucking movies and experiences and the games and stuff more often. That's obviously a political tangent. But anyways, even he was like, it's kind of boring. Battles not great. The mechanics aren't great. They had a bunch of like kind of like basic.
Yeah, but I would expect somebody like that to not like it because you got to be an RPG person. Like it is very much like level up your choices. Like which are you going to choose? Perception.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it is more. Maybe it's more intricate.
Yeah, there's a lot more talking than like you would want for somebody who wants more. Like give me like faster action. Like the action is really great and it's really good, but it's not like. You're not just going to be doing that just the whole time. You're going to be
that's what they said. The spells were a little fucked. The spell casting was a little bit of a goofy ass system. That like the controls over that were like lesser than Skyrim, and Skyrim is obviously a decade plus old.
Well, I didn't play Skyrim. I think the controls and stuff are smooth and super responsive and I very much like the combat. Like I think the gameplay is 5 out of 5 to me.
Okay,
that's honestly what kept me in more because for me. Maybe even the RPG tangent like stuff is a little deeper than I would like just for like the time I have as a parent and a father, and a husband. But the gameplay keeps me going even beyond that because it's so good, along with the story. So highly recommend still. And yeah, other than that, just college football. Still playing in my leagues. I'm actually better now. Miami Redhawks are 3-3 in their new Big Ten home.
That was starting after starting 0-2. You said
no. That was we've done so much. That season ended. I was terrible. I won 0 game. I think I won one game the whole season. So this season started off 2-0.
2-0. That's what it was.
Yeah, feeling 2-0. Now I'm 3-3. It's stretch is getting tougher. But in my other dynasty. UW, I'm 6-2, currently ranked number 12. I think I'm gonna increase, so I'll probably be top 10. Feeling good, getting better at the game now. Yeah, still playing that game.
Word. That's it.
That is it, sir.
3 things.
That is it.
Yeah. Poker, football, and fucking the RPG of choice. What a concise way to spend your time.
Yeah, I'll tell you, my son is still clamoring to play some Vampire Survivor. So when we're done today, I will be playing some of that with him because he's been asking me like over and over. So we're gonna have to do that.
Okay, copy that. Well, I got my. I can't with the list I have. There's no way it was the PC. I was still waiting on parts. Right, that was the deal with the PC build last time.
Yes.
It had to be. There's no way I played it. These things wouldn't be here if I had actually had it fired up and going. So, yes.
I mean, we've talked about it over text and stuff, yeah.
Right. So, I finished. It's everything I thought it would be. It is. I no longer need analog reality. It's fucking everything. It's everything. There's no
Are you
short.
Ready Player One? Ready Player One mode now?
Yes, it runs it's exactly as good and high end as I wanted it to be. You know, there were like I made some small like I said I didn't buy like the most expensive card. I bought the graphics card. I bought the like one step down, the 7800 instead of the. They might actually be up to 9 even now. The really really new one. But either way, just like a little step down from the most high end thing. Same with the processor. It's like an 8-core, fucking I don't know, however many gigahertz or whatever. It wasn't the most expensive one, but it was close. It was like a step or two back, you know. So there was a little concern that I would like fire these games up and it not be like the whole purpose of spending any of this money is like when I go into VR and I put these things on, it's perfect. I want to look at a perfect. I don't want any technology. I don't want to feel any technology between me and the game. That's the goal of making this upgrade, right? Nailed it. Fucking no, everything runs fucking great. It's fucking incredible. Like, and I don't need a monitor prophecy came to fruition. I set it up with actually I didn't even use Amy's monitor. I plugged in my fucking the living room TV into it and set it up on there. Like just fucking plugged in a keyboard and set it up on my TV. And now I don't have any of that stuff. It doesn't have a keyboard. It doesn't have a mouse. It doesn't have a fucking monitor. Nothing. All I have to do is make sure the power button isn't flashing. Basically, it's not in sleep mode. As long as I just go over and if it is flashing, hit that. And then when I put on my headset and turn on virtual desktop in my Oculus, I actually have it so you can pick. With virtual desktop, you can kind of pick what your screen goes into. So I sit in an auditorium. I am in a movie theater, and my screen is like a fucking movie screen. And the scale is exactly that. I am looking at a movie screen. So even when I'm doing something on a flat screen, it's like on another level of kind of interaction with your PC. But from there, you can just start Steam VR and play whatever VR game I want, and it's fucking perfect. And it's just a black box of VR processing death just sitting here silently at all times. It doesn't make any noise. The fans make no noise. It is just a silent box of VR death that is just like sitting here and it's capable of anything. It's incredible. It was such a good, like I ended up, like I said, I couldn't get all 4 fans into it with the casing. So there's only 3 fans that I installed. So I was able to return that. There was something else I was able to return. I'm selling the Windows copy that I didn't need and waited too long for. And it's probably going to come in like around $1,600, I think, was the cost for it. So just, oh my God, so worth it. So fucking worth it.
So now your Oculus is just going to collect dust? Is that what you're saying?
No, what do you mean? The Oculus is that's the headset I'm using.
What?
It looks like I asked you the square root of something. What's...
your Quest, so you're using your Quest 3?
Yeah, that's the headset. And those, I mean, the 3 is it's not quite your highest end Valve headset, but it's close enough. And yeah, the processing is all happening in the computer. That's the thing. It's just a visual vessel for what the computer's doing.
Oh, I thought there was a different headset that you had to get. Altogether.
No. I mean, you can buy a PC headset, and there are ones that are going to be nicer than a Quest. They're expensive as fuck. You know, the Valve they actually just, I think, either announced or released a new one that's supposed to be the hot shit. I'm sure that it's probably like fucking unreal, you know. But we'll get there. I'll eventually be playing newer games, but I'm not even playing. I mean, I'm trying to better experiences I've already had is my initial fucking foray into this stuff. I've kind of started to do some new things, but I mean, yeah, the first thing I do is I literally named it. I named the PC Subnautica VR or something like that. Like that's what it's called. So like that's the chief function of this was to play Subnautica in VR flawlessly, and it is. It's fucking gorgeous and terrifying, and it is. I'm playing it with like renewed enthusiasm because it's like playing the game a new time. It's like, I was talking to Jab. It's a funny thing about this, like playing Subnautica and talking to Jab about it. That little cocksucker is going to get a VR headset now. That was the thing. The wrong marketing. I was doing the wrong marketing. I wasn't talking about Subnautica in VR. I was trying to get Demio or Walk, whatever the fuck I'd been pitched to him to date. Yeah. Subnautica in VR, now he's on board and he's going to do it. So that's a funny side story. But talking to him about it, like, it's, the cool thing about Subnautica in VR is the scale is different. It doesn't I can't even believe it's the same game because everything is so much bigger in VR. Like, the rocks you break are, like, huge, man. And, you know, you mine them and, like, the fucking fish are just massive, you know? And, like, all that scale is lost on a flat screen. And that's the beauty of that game is the unknown and the discovery and the, like, you know, the foreignness that your character has in that alien setting is like the appeal of that game. So the scale being so different and bigger in VR only fuels that more. It's fucking beautiful, you know? So yeah, it's so fucking, and like the vehicles, there's like a lot of little shit. Interesting thing too. So I'm going into this. Subnautica released a native VR version of the game a few years ago that I didn't even know happened. Now, they fucked it up. They did a shit job. So that is a shitty VR version. But this game is revered. The internet fixed it. They created a mod. It's perfect. It's everything you want. Motion controls are all perfect. Everything's perfect. There's a couple dumb things. I can't give my cuttlefish a treat. It's a huge fucking problem for me. I'm like posting on the forums incessantly about I cannot give my cuttlefish treats, and it's fucking killing me because there's not a button for that, or the button that it says to do doesn't work because that button is now something else, and I can't figure out how to fix that.
Oh, poor
or
Mr.
take pictures.
Bubbles. Oh, no.
It's so frustrating. Because that is like one of the coolest parts about it, like your pet cuttlefish. It's so cute and it's so cool that whatever. That's such a big role play element to that game. That, and then you can't take pictures. The button to take pictures on like the Xbox or whatever is maybe it's like I don't know, keyboard map, because it is pictures. It's not like I need to do it all the time, but you can take pictures in the game, like in the like not just pictures of your headset view. You can take pictures in the game and then put those pictures onto picture frames in your bases to decorate with, which is cool. And I can't figure out how to take pictures because it used to be you just press the right stick down, but now if you press the right stick down, that's your like speed wheel for selecting your tools. So you definitely don't want to lose that. That's way more important than taking pictures, but I want to be able to take pictures. So those two things, feeding my cuttlefish and taking pictures, I can't do. And I keep posting in the forums and no one's gotten back to me yet. So we'll see if I can solve that problem. But other than that, it's a perfect fucking iteration of it. And yeah, I'm playing the shit out of it. And like, yeah, in the vehicles, you can like feel the vehicle around you now. Like instead of, it was just, you know, it's just obviously flat screen sucks. It's like fucking, it's just like some shit, some foreground overlay is all the vehicle becomes, or all the vehicle is on a flat screen. But in VR, you're in the vehicle and you can look around and see out the fucking, you know, see in the vehicle while you're in there. And like when you're in the escape pod in the beginning of the game, you get launched out of that thing and you're rocketing down to the planet. It used to be a fixed view that you're in on flat screen, and like that thing hits you in the face and you wake up and the thing's on fire and you got to like scramble out of there. But like those moments before the thing hits you in the face now are, you can look around and you can see out of the hatch at the top. And it's funny, they actually didn't account for that because what you see out of the hatch doesn't make sense. It's like always what you would see if it was on the planet already. So like the whole time you're being launched out of the spaceship and going through the atmosphere and shit, you just see like a blue sky above you, and it's like, that's not fucking right, you know? Because you can feel the whole thing fucking shaking around you and shit. So, you know, whatever. But you can just like I can't, like that huge submarine, I don't have it yet in the game, but like, that's gonna be wild to walk around that in VR is going to be so cool, and like walk into the fucking controls. It's going to be so fucking cool. I can't wait to get that. So yeah, it is a completely different experience, and that alone is all worth it. So I'm playing the shit out of that quite a bit. I got into that diving game, of course. That was another thing. That was actually probably the thing that really pushed me over the edge with this, is wanting that experience. Right. And it is fucking unreal, dude. Yeah. It is. It's because that is like Subnautica's like, it's beautiful, but it's a little old now. Like, that Subside VR is brand new and like in perfect fidelity. It is fucking gorgeous, man. It is gorgeous. And that's such a relaxing experience too, you know, like you're just diving and like searching for coins. That's not like terror at all times like Subnautica is. So that is a really cool experience. I wish you would release more content because I did get in. There's a few coins and a few levels I hadn't found that I'm still can go around and look for now with perfect fidelity, and it's enjoyable. But I want new things to do, like the cave diving in particular. Like I want more cave diving to do. So that affected a little bit. I also, again, just the fucking going through the backlog, Outer Wilds VR. Like I played with that before on my laptop as the PC VR engine, and like it worked, but it was dog shit. And like now it's gorgeous, you know. Like it sucks because that game though, there's just nothing. Once you know the thing, there's just no value to being in that world, at least to me. So I can't get like the way I'm getting enjoyment out of Subnautica. It's just not there for that, unfortunately. But it is beautiful, and God, I wish I'd have played it initially that way because it would have been unreal. So I fucked with that a little bit. Still civing here and there. It's still frustratingly different in many ways, but it's maintain that I think that's a good thing. And then other than the big thing I'm going to talk about, I went back to basic bitch native platform Quest gaming for a bit when I wanted to just fuck around, and played that Lemmings-like game, Humanity. And I thought I was right at the end. I think it was just 1 or 2 levels left. So I did beat it, and it's such a beautiful game, dude. It's so, I don't know, so atmospheric and just so beautiful, and like the story setup that they've given you about this kind of like humanity's redemption thing, I guess is maybe a good way to summate it in not so many words, is really beautiful. And it's just the ending is just a really beautiful sequence, and it's just an incredibly satisfying game to play. Challenge is really amazing and satisfying. The controls of the fucking people and the dog controlling them, it's just all so good. So yeah, I finished it, and just again over the moon would recommend that as like a sit around by yourself and just chill out but solve puzzles experience. So the big thing I started with that's semi-new is I've been seeing Into the Radius, it's called, on a lot of pieces. Like, so, you know, I get this thing and I'm like, I'm playing Subnautica, I'm playing the shit I already have, I've already played, but like, what's the I could do anything now. Like, what I'm going to do now? What's the big thing I'm going to do next, you know? So I started watching a lot of like top 10 PC VR videos and shit, and like, you get a lot of Half-Life Alyx on the top of those lists, of course. And I was actually talking to my buddy Tony, who has a PCVR rig of his own, and he's like, oh my God, you gotta fucking get Half-Life Alyx, it's like incredible. I'm like, you know what, man? I'm like, is it open world? I'm like, I learned something, because that Metro 33 game, like I've kind of fallen off of that, and it's because it's like it's a great game, like, everything's great, but you're on this linear track of story, and like, I'm Into the Radius, I'll get to it in a second here, is like, it's the same game in a lot of ways, it's just open world, and like, the amount of interesting that is to me more than just being on this railroaded story track, I can't even describe it. And like, it's made me realize that I just got to stop playing games like that. Like, I just don't, it's not fun. If I don't have some choice over how I'm spending my time in this world, it fucking sucks. It just sucks. That sucks, you know? And so I was asking him, I'm like, is Half-Life Alyx open world? Or he's like, no, it's, I'm like, oh, then I think I need to just not do that, because I just don't think those games are for me. And as long as I have the options that are open world that I want, I think going forward, I'm just going to stick to that, because it is just so much more enjoyable to like have to figure out what to do next. If it's just, I just know it's in front of me, it's just not interesting, you know, even no matter how good everything else is. And Metro 33, I think, is an example of that. Like, I just have no interest in picking it back up at this point. And I got past that point that I was stuck on. Like, I'm going, you know, I just don't have it. Now that I have this to do, like, I have no interest in going back to that. So, that was kind of a learning experience about myself. But yes, so this game, so I've been seeing this game on lists, and I put these things in. I'm like, okay, that's interesting. I put it in my wish list, and I do that with this, and this is like 40% off. So it was $18. So it's an indie developer too, so it's 30 original, so 40% off, $18. I'm like, that's easy money. If it's on top 10 list, that's obviously a fucking no problem. And it's like, you know, you could tell it's like dystopian wasteland, very Fallout-y in story world style. That obviously appeals to me too. So like, you know, all the foreground shit looks good. So no problem on $18. Dude, this game is wild, man. It is absolutely cripplingly, devastatingly terrifying.
What?
Like, it's very similar to Subnautica in that you're in a wide open world you do not understand. Like this dystopian situation, it's not like Fallout. It's not just like, oh, nuclear fallout happened and like it's some like the reason everything's fucked up is just like something we understand scientifically. What's happening in this world is fucking bananas and we do not have an explanation for it. So everything is weird and you don't know. Like it's again, and like that's the thing too. It's not just open world that I think I love. It's not not understanding, having to learn and figure out my environment. Like that's what I think I really love. Like, and you have to be in open world to do that. You have to have the agency over just that discovery. Yeah. But the elements of the world being befuddling or foreign have to be there too. And I think that's what I actually love about Subnautica. Like the underwater thing is cool. I love underwater shit, but I think what really bit me about Subnautica is that it's like I have to like I don't know what this thing in front of me is going to do. I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know how to deal with any of the problems. The physics, the biology, everything is crazy. So that is I think what I really enjoy, and this game has that. And yeah, again, just learning about myself as a gamer, I think, kind of making some discoveries here. But yeah, man. So like, yeah, it's Fallout adjacent. You're in a world that's like an absolute wasteland now, but something like I think it's the sun. There's like everything is like, I don't even know how to describe it. Like, you know,
disintegrating. Like, what is that like?
Kind of, yeah. Like there's like all that shit in the air is just suspended. It's like ripped apart. Like everything is like it's kind of like a bomb went off but didn't finish going off, and everything just froze mid destruction. You know, and there's no explanation for that. And there's all these like, I don't know, like the people that were like perhaps standing in this particular spot when this event happened, it like turned them into like this ash thing that when you walk up to them and touch them, just like disperses. And then you start hearing voices of the person, like whatever they were saying when this moment happened. I think this is my interpretation. And then for every one, and again, this is what I think is going on. Every one of those creates like this disembodied entity that are like your enemies and the dangerous things that are in this world that you're walking around dealing with. And like, they are terrifying, bro. Like the most basic bitch ones are just kind of like these lumbering, they're all like black. They're just black. Like they kind of have that, you know, like interference look to them. They like, are they really there? Are they not? This kind of like electronic, you know, dude, God, so bad. I don't know if I want to play that game. Bro, dude, so those are the basic ones. There's these shadow ones that you can barely see. You can just hear them coming if you're paying attention. Yeah, you got it. You have to be, man. You have to be dialed in
and focused.
Oh, audio. Yeah, you cannot be listening to some podcasts and shit. You got to be dialed the fuck in to play this game. And so yeah, there's a bunch of shit. There's like these cop things that are like they're weird too. Whatever. There's all these enemies, and yeah, man. I mean, the first handful of times I played this, dude, I am in my living room screaming like a baby, dude. Like these things just come out of fucking. I don't know, man. Like total terror. Rip my headset off. Like, oh my god. Like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It sent me, like, I'm jumping on the internet and I am like Googling Reddits about like, how the fuck did you play this? Like, how do you dial down the terror enough to actually play this game? Of which there are many threads on Reddit about this. So I am not alone in this response to it.
I don't even want to touch it.
It is fucking terrifying, dude. And like you're in broad ass daylight, and it's like it's a real open world game, so there's nighttime. You can go out in the nighttime. No fucking way! No way will I ever go. I mean, I know there's gonna be missions that are gonna force me into it, and like I played it for like a week now, and like I've worn down. I've learned a little bit. I've you know I can go out, and I'm not just fucking freaking out the whole time, you know. I have like some understanding of how these things behave and how to deal with them. And I learned, Googling those threads, I learned one little tiny spoiler thing that, I honestly, it's so minimal and so basic, but it is something I did not know or understand. And like learning that gave me like, because I thought I couldn't even kill these things. I thought even when you like frag them, that they're coming right back. And like, I was like, how do you ever get anything done? You're like, yeah, how do you ever get anything done? Like everything's like how you can't clean it. Like me and these types in a game like this, like I have to clean the world out. Like I have to clean my space out, kill everything, and then I can just go around and do the other stuff that I need to do. I cannot just like run and gun and like grab some shit and like, you know, fucking frantically read something in a corner and then get back to gunplay. Like I can't do that. And the gunplay too is so complicated. Like that's the thing. You have all this shit you got to do, and it's VR, you know, so like you got to cock the gun. You got to put the bullets in the clip. Like there's a lot of like minutia stuff that is,
that slows
I
down
thought
your
would
gameplay.
bug me.
Oh man.
Yeah, and like, but it's like it's so good and so meticulous that like the anal retentive BB stacker in me likes it. Like you gotta like clean your guns back at the base and shit, you know, like they wear down, and you gotta do it, dude. Like the cleaning the gun, you have a vice. You put the gun in. You gotta like take oil and a toothbrush and clean it off.
At the base when you're doing this?
Yes,
okay.
yes.
Then
yeah,
that's
the base
okay.
is safe.
I'm like, I don't want to be mid battle. Like,
and it is. That's the thing. Like, I'm not going out at night. So like, I go out daylight hours. I sleep until daylight. Go out in daylight hours, and then go back to my base when it's getting dark, and I do all my maintenance. You gotta eat. You gotta take care of your weapons. You gotta like decompress all the stuff you found. Cause you go out and you have a backpack that's really cool. It's like the coolest backpack mechanic I've ever seen. You take it off your back, and it's like, it opens up in front of you, and you like physically put the stuff in there, and like, it's not just like put it in your backpack. It's like you like put it in there, like physically put it in there, and then it stays in that spot. And when you open it back up, it's in that spot again. And like, you know, you just jam your backpack full of shit, dude. Like you go out and, you know, there's things you can sell for money, and like you're finding things that you can't buy yet because you don't have the clearance level. It's called, is like the gatekeeping they do to keep you from just buying the dopest guns and shit right from the beginning. And yeah, it's just, there's a lot of like minutia shit that's really fucking tickling my fucking fiddle as well. And yeah, man. And like there's that whole thing, and then this phenomenon that's going on. It's like 4 days or something. It's called the Tide. And I have no understanding of what happens here. There's posters on the base that tell you like the basic shit. Like you have this map tool that you can pull out, and it's got a counter on it. And when that counter hits 0, the tide starts. And if you're outside when that starts, you're fucked, buddy. It like automatically teleports you to just some random ass place on the map, which sucks, obviously, if you're not somewhere, if it takes somewhere you haven't been, or is heavily populated by something that sucks, like, you know, you're fucked. So you don't want to be outside. And then also it like resets all the enemies. Cause like over the 4 days counting, you go out, you kill things. When you go back out, that thing's still dead. So you can like, again, you can kind of clear space out and give yourself, so you're not constantly battling, and you can explore and shit. But when that tide hits, it resets everything, and all the enemies are back. So you got to go out and fucking clean it out again. And it's like, and yeah, there's, you know, whatever that is going on there is a big part of what you're trying to figure out. And like, that's kind of like your purpose, is you are this explorer that's trying to do science to get the world back to a place that's not, this horrible thing isn't happening every 4 days. You know what I mean? So
I get it.
Yeah, man, there's just a lot to it. And I 100% see why it's revered, because there's just so much going on. And I actually found out, poking around after I bought it, that this has been on Quest native platform for quite a while now. So I could have been playing it. I'm again, just like Outer Wilds, I'm glad I waited, because it's PC VR. It's better, of course. So I'm glad I'm just playing it now. But not only that, the beta of Into the Radius 2 came out last July. So by the time I finish this, probably, hopefully anyways, I will have 2 sitting there waiting for me to play as well. So I hope that is also good. But yeah, it's fucking great, dude. I'm playing the shit out of it. And like, it's so much that I can't, you know, you can't play this game for hours. Like,
I was going to say,
get up, get up, like, I'll finish my day and like, okay, I'm going to go into the Radius and do a run. And like, just, you go out into the wasteland and just like, maybe you do a mission, maybe you don't. 'Cause, you know, you have missions you get assigned. There's like little dumb ones. Go find something that someone died with out in the thing, bring it back to us or whatever. And then there's these big missions, of course, that are like whole deals. But you don't have to do any of that. There's plenty to do just going out and exploring with no objectives, because you'll find shit. I found a gun last night that was a little bit above my pay grade on the last run. Like, oh man, great. Go back and it's like totally trash, but like, let's get back and fucking clean the shit out of it. And like, like, oh my God, I'm so happy to have this gun that's actually semi-automatic now. Holy shit, you know? And yeah, it's all so good, dude. It's all so good. And you got like I said, on top of the gunplay, you have like light's constantly a problem. So you can't get a headlamp yet. So at first you're just dealing with like a flashlight and with your other hand too. And then there's these artifact things you can find. So there's like this detector that you got to use for it. So you got to keep these things, like, you have all these great slots on your arms and your vest. There's these anomaly things that are like, they're these just they're not random. If you look hard or you know where they are, you can see evidence of them, but it's like a very barely discernible evidence. So these things will catch you slipping if you're not paying attention, basically. So you have these probes. It's like this bag of things you can wear on your arm that you take out, and they're just like, they look like empty bullet casings or something, and you just throw them out. And when these things hit these areas, they make them pop. So you basically got it. Like, if you're just walking around, you got to like constantly be. It's almost like a mine detector, you know. Like, you like you would if you were in a minefield, you would need to constantly watch your ass, or you're gonna fucking get blown up. It's like you got to be doing that, and like so you're doing that, and then oh shit, you hear an enemy, like, oh, I got to put those away, fuck, and like get my gun out, and like it's just a lot, you know. It can get very hairy at times, you know.
For someone who always talks about like, oh, games being too intense, like this sounds super intense. Like,
it is, dude. Believe me, it's an assault on my senses. But again, that thing of like discovery and intrigue is so strong with it that I can, you know what I mean? It drives me to weather that, you know. Okay. It's you know, whatever. It's only a weekend, but again, it's on a lot of lists. It's plucking a lot of things that I know get me going. So I'm pretty sure I'm fucking invested in this, I think. Okay. So yeah, it's fucking wild, man. It's a really, really intense game. And yeah, dude, like Amy was yelling at me, bro. She's like, you gotta fucking settle down. She's like, you're freaking the dogs out. You're freaking me out. You gotta settle the fuck down. I'm like, I don't want to tell you. Like, I'm not doing this on purpose. Like, yeah. But yeah, like I said, I've learned like I can play it. Like, I can go out like a grown man should be able to play a video game. I can go out and do that now after a week of playing and learn. I'm sure there'll be, you know, I've only encountered like 4 of the different kinds of enemies. I'm sure there's shit out there that is going to fucking absolutely terrify me. So, you know, I'm looking forward to that. So that's, of course, it's hard. It's, you know, 43. It's hard to get stimulated in any way, shape, or form, you know? It's just really hard for anything to be a lot, and not just be like, whatever. And this game is providing that space, so. Nice. Yeah, very cool. Into the Radius. You can, like I said, you don't even need, you can do it on Quest. Even the 2 probably runs it just fine, but the PCVR, recommend for sure. Okay. So the last thing's the Uncanny X-Men Quest, where I'm at in that. I am getting to the end of 1984. The mid 180s, I think 180 is the last one I read, and that is they're running into the tunnel, and from there, well, before I even get to that, like, I realize as I was up to like the bundle I had stopped here, so I'm like, okay, I gotta get the next packet of them off archive.org where I've gotten all these to date through the first 180 issues, and I go on there. And it does not have all the issues for me. There's a gap between 182 and 201. So I'm like, okay, that's a fucking problem. This fucking champion of the universe that's been uploading these doesn't have that there for some reason or another. I don't know why. But so I'm like, okay, well, what the fuck's my solution? I start poking around. I find some goofy ass Angel Fire website or something with issues 183 and 184. So I find those, but I can't find 185. And so I'm like, fuck, I'm kind of like, what am I going to do now? Like, and also I just have questions like, why is that not there? What's going on here? So I pull up one of these reading guides. Have you ever, you know, I'm sure maybe you do. Yeah. Like this. These are like roadmaps for reading these, what have become convoluted fuckstorm landscapes of comic book storytelling. Right. So the one I found, did I write down what it was? I'll drop the links in the show notes. I have it in there, so you can pull up this one. It seemed like the definitive one. This guy was super thorough. So, yeah, I mean, it's because like this is the early '80s, so this is when they're and I've seen it I've felt it in the issues too. I can feel them like bringing in Spider Girl and shit, like random ass characters. Like I can feel them trying to like create crossover traction, you know, like get you to read other books. There's Avenger stuff all the time. There's like all the Fantastic Four shit will happen, and they're like they don't even seem like there's like a investment in it really going anywhere. It's just like it gets you to think about that other book and maybe buy it. I can feel just like the marketing ingrainment of this, you know. Yeah. So I've started to feel that. So it makes sense to me that it would get wild here as far as being able to track the storylines and shit. But yeah, now like, you know, I'm like, so I pull this up and I see how crazy it's going to get to some degree and how many books it's starting to cross over to. And I'm like, first of all, I gotta like pare it down. It's like when I started collecting the Josh Allen cards, like, okay, only rookies, only 2018, only base sets, no fucking inserts, no later years, no just like rookie, like create constraints or you'll lose your mind, you know? Like, so like, yeah, I'm not like, you know, post 2000, they've written all these books that are like prequels and shit to these storylines happening here in the 80s. So like, if I allow myself to get into that, I'm going to be pulling books. I'm fucked. So like, nope, that's gone. I'm only doing original at the time crossovers, if at all, yada, yada, yada. So I set these rules and shit and I start figuring shit out. So now I'm reading like, like here right around I go back a little bit and there's only a couple of them that I had to like find and go back and read to catch up to where based on my rule set where I'm at. And like one of them was I was reading Sabretooth's first appearance is in Iron Fist 14. I don't even know who Iron Fist is.
Oh
my
the fucking
character. So I'm going back at like he first appears in 14 and then there's like an X-Men crossover issue in 15. So like I go back and read Iron Fist 14 and 15. That is of course not on archive.org. I had to like find it in a compilation
because it's Iron Fist.
That was released. Right, exactly. So like, yeah, a whole goofy ass thing there. There's a bunch of that was such a stupid. Yeah, it was such a dumb issue too. Like the whole premise of Iron Fist 15 was like Wolverine is like kind of fucking stalking Jean Grey. He's like outside her apartment in NYC because he's like stalking her, jealous about Cyclops shit. He's just like outside her apartment, just like bitching about Cyclops to himself, like muttering. And Iron Fist is in their apartment because she's roommates with, maybe it's Storm? She's roommates with somebody that Iron Fist is best friends with, supposedly. So he's just over while she's out getting groceries with Cyclops. Insane storyline. And so Wolverine thinks he's a burglar. He breaks into her apartment and starts fucking fighting with Iron Fist. Jean Grey and Cyclops get home with their groceries. And Jean Grey's just like, what the fuck are you doing, Wolverine? He's what's his name's friend. He's here. And Wolverine's like, gotta like make an excuse that he like, it doesn't really even explain it properly why he's outside her apartment. What? Yeah, it's just like a really weird.
It's whack.
Man. And like it just ends. It's just like, that's just it. Like her coming home and be like, relax, you psychopath. Is like just the end of that storyline. And you go back to X-Men and nothing's, you know, no. I mean, like, all I can think of is like, there's obviously more of this. And like, you have the meme of Wolverine sitting in his bed looking at the picture of Jean Grey from the first X-Men 97, you know, the old X-Men 97 things. Like that is in there somewhere, you know, that he's like, you know, he's already evidenced that he's into her and whatever. But yeah, it's just, I don't know. It was very childish. It was like incredibly low stakes. Like why even buy, like it's just selling Iron Fist comics is all it's doing, you know, just like, but I feel like they could, even if you're only doing that, try harder. It's just, it was so bad, you know, I was so upset that I read the issue. I was like, what the fuck? It's like such a waste of tangent time, man. Yeah. But yeah, man, I don't know. Like I might have to subscribe to Marvel Unlimited because I don't know how I'm going to get some of these issues. So coming out of 180 before I get to like that 185 problem I have, 180 is the last issue before Secret Wars starts, which I've never read. I've seen a million times. I even had like a couple of those.
First Secret Wars. Yeah. Okay.
Right. Yeah. I even had a couple of that was their first action figure line. Was like the Secret Wars line. I think I had like a Wolverine and maybe an Iron Man or something of those. Or no, Doc Ock maybe it was. I totally had, yeah. Or no, Doom. It was Dr. Doom. I had Dr. Doom and I think Wolverine as a kid from that line of action figures. So like, I know that's a thing. And Jim Shooter is the writer on it, which from talking to Bob Budiansky and Larry Hama and shit for that Doc series, I know he was the editor-in-chief for this whole era, and he's not really he didn't really day-to-day work on the book, so this must have been like his brainchild that he was allowed to creatively exercise, and do the writing on. So that's interesting as well. And yeah, so I'm 4 into the 12-issue series there, and I'm basically, I think anyways, I'm supposed to read all these and then go back to Uncanny X-Men if I understood the roadmap correctly. So those were on archive.org, thankfully. But I've never read, that's interesting too, dude, like, it's really making Xavier look like a dickhead. I mean, he's kind of looked like a dickhead, period, up to this point. Xavier's kind of a dickhead, man. Like, dude, yeah. He's nothing like he is in the modern comics. He's like a total asshole and like very very authoritarian. Is that what's the word there? Very whatever. Like very dictatorish. Yeah, authoritarian. That's it. Jesus Christ. Yeah. And like, he's just an asshole, man. And like, that's going on here. There's some of that going on. And he can walk now, which is weird. I never knew that happened. And that started to happen right just a few issues before this, in Uncanny. So he's walking around now and like being a dickhead. So that's going on. And like, this is all Avengers and like all the Spider-Man enemies are involved with this and shit. So there's a lot of stuff that I've just never seen the characters of, like Avengers in particular, like, Hawkeye is a fucking loser, dude. That guy's a fucking asshole. Like, he's a total peckerhead. Thor is a dickhead. Hulk's kind of interesting just because of the whole, like, simpleton thing going on. And he's like, you can see that, like, they're trying to paint it as he's simple, but there's enough of Bruce Banner in there for him to realize that people think of him as simple, and he's defensive about it. So that is kind of an interesting relationship kernel that I'm kind of enjoying in these. But yeah, all the shit with the Avengers, Captain America, fuck, he sucks. He's Leonardo, he's Cyclops, he's just, all those archetype leader guys they suck so bad. They're such terrible characters. I hate how one note they all are. It's so fucking bad. Whatever. These comics are all one note to some degree, but all those guys bug me, and Captain America bugs the shit out of me. And yeah, Hawkeye, same thing. He's just like he's such a Todd.
I feel like I skipped all of that. I don't think I ever read the original Secret War.
It's interesting, because they just like get teleported to they just all of a sudden, I mean, I don't know, for some reason they run into the tunnel that gets them there in X-Men, so it's not like they just randomly disappear from somewhere. They like choose to go into this place, and it just takes them to this other place in the universe, and like, yeah, it's like, all the good guys are like in this one base together, although X-Men's kind of like being, I don't know, they're like going rogue, and like, I don't know, like in these first 4 issues, it's kind of painted as like the Avengers think they're like
bad guys,
defecting to the bad guys, like they're trying to align with Magneto, and what they're doing is trying to get Magneto to be, I don't know, man. So it's definitely interesting shit's going on that there's been no allusion to prior to, so that's interesting. And yeah, just the smattering of Doc Ock, Doctor Doom, a bunch of baddies I've never even heard of. But yeah, Doc Ock, Doctor Doom, Galactus, fucking who else? I
mean, I guess there's higher stakes, everybody involved. So this is the
right, exactly. Really so yeah, there's just a lot, and again, kind of like just talking about Subnautica, none of them understand the world they're in, and like the shit that's happening is all weird to everyone. So yeah, there's a lot of like especially with the bad guys, of course, this like jockeying for kind of being the leader / just getting the best foothold for their situation, because they're all acting in their own best interests, of course. But some of them are like, okay, we're better off we have all these fucking heroes to deal with. It's better to get aligned in some way, shape, or form. So there's like, it's a lot of, I'm trying to think what the word is, that fatalistic alliances or something. There's some sort of term is evading me for that. But yeah, it is kind of interesting in that regard. So I would, if you haven't read them, I would recommend them. And those are all on archive.org. But I mean, you have unlimited, so you don't need that. But it's out there. Okay, let's go about Marvel Madness.